Your animation library is killing your app. Not slowly, not subtly. It's actively making your users bounce, your lighthouse scores tank, and your bundle blow out of control. Every fade in, every scroll animation, every page transition. You're paying for it in kilobytes, in performance, in user experience. And the worst part, you don't need any of it anymore. Currently, CSS can do 90% of what these libraries do. Zero JavaScript, zero bundle cost, actually better performance. Today, I'm gonna show you some CSS features that replaces Framer Motion, GSAP, and EOS. And even if you use AI to write code, stick around. I will show you how to stop your AI to make these mistakes too. Let's fix your app. These dependencies, that's something I saw in one of React projects. 3 libraries over 100 kilobytes just for animations. And you have to understand that with every library you install, that means more dependencies to maintain, more security vulnerabilities to patch, more breaking changes when you upgrade, and more documentation to learn. But the real killer, performance. These libraries run on the main thread, the same thread that handles your React state, your API calls. When your animation runs, everything else fights for resources. That's why you get junk. That's why your animations stutter on slower devices. That's why your core web vitals suffer. CSS animations, they run on the compositor thread, completely separate, GPU accelerated, buttery smooth even when your JavaScript is busy with something else. This is not just about bundle size. It's about building faster, smoother, more maintainable apps. Let me show you that. I have created this small app to demonstrate all the features, so we will have example how it works, and also we'll have how it looks inside the CSS and your markup. And the first one is going to be scroll-driven animations. For that one, I created that small component with the list of cards. Let's take a look at the scroll animations here. So once we scroll down, we see that at the top of this container, we have progress bar, which animates according to our scroll progress. And also you can see that these cards are smoothly appearing at our view. And for that, usually I see that apps using some third-party libraries, but it can be achieved with pure CSS. So now let's take a look at the CSS implementation. So the first thing, this scroll bar. So for scroll bar, we need to define, of course, position fixed. We need to stick it to the top using top and left. Then we define width, height, and background. Then we have transform origin left, so it goes from left to right, and then we have our magic animations. The main part here is this one, animation timeline, and here we define scroll. And actually this links animation to browser scroll. It tells the browser to drive the animation from scroll position instead of time. And here we can use animation keyframe, here is it defined, so here we have from and to values, and in that part scroll bar gets transformed on scale X from 0 to 1 to get the full width. And this is how animation for scroll cards is done. So the first thing, you need to define animation with animation keyframe, and here is it defined from and to values. And here you need to change opacity, and also you need to call translate. Why? Because we have a list here which actually scrolls vertically, and you need to pass value from 50 pixels to 0. But also there are another cool things here is that animation timeline view. So that means that animation plays once a scroll card appears in the view. And this one, animation range, it actually controls when animation starts and when it is ends. And here you can mention, for example, that it starts once a card appeared in the view and ends once it 100% in the view. And that's how markup looks. So we have scroll bar separately, and here are the scroll cards, and they have separate container, scroll container. And basically that's it. With that simple CSS tricks, you can get rid of your JS libraries. And the next one is View Transitions API. That lets you create smooth transitions between the pages, like what you see in the native mobile apps, with just few lines of CSS. Let's take a look at the example. So here we have 3 tabs. Let's imagine it's 3 different pages. So once we click, we have that smooth transitions between the pages with that cool animations. Here is how CSS looks. Here you can find this strange pseudo elements. The first one is view transition old, and another one is view transition new. And also another important thing, we have here view transition name. So what these things actually mean. So view transition name give each element a unique name. So when you change the page, elements with the same name will morph from old position to new position automatically. And those pseudo elements let you customize the exit and entry animations. The browser snapshots the old and new state, then crossfades between them. Also, we need a little bit of JavaScript for that. If you go to index.html file and scroll down, here we can see that start view transition. And basically that's it. The browser handles the rest. The next one is pretty cool one, starting style. And this one is used for entry animations. Here I have two examples, one with model and one with toast notification. So let's take a look at that. Let's press on that open model and we see that such a model appeared. Then on show toast and we have that toast notifications appear. Here is the class for model is defined. So here we have opacity 1, so it means it's fully visible. Then I will explain you why we need opacity 1 exactly here. Then we have a transform, and that's going to be the position where we want to place model. And then we have transition. It's basically the animation, how we're going to transit it to our view. So here we have defined opacity, transition for opacity, for transform, and for display appearance. And then the main magic, this starting style. What that means? That means that here we need to define styles with which model would start once it is rendered. And here you can see opacity 0, so by default at the start it will be fully hidden. And this is the initial position on start. And then it's gonna transform it to that position, the one we want. And in similar way, toast is defined. So we have opacity 1, transform, we have transition animations, and then we have that starting style with opacity 0 and with transform 100% on translate X. Then in your app, you just need to control state of these elements, model or notifications, whether they are visible in your view or not. In the next one, I'm going to show you how to animate display none. And for that, you can use something that already was in previous example, and it's going to be transition behavior, allow discrete. And for the demo, I have here accordion and drop down. And actually in this accordions, I have an explanation how it works. So first, it allows CSS properties with discrete values like display and visibility to participate in transitions. Previously, these properties would snap immediately between values. And then how does it work? When transitioning from display none to display block, the browser keeps the element in the rendering tree during the transition, allowing other properties like opacity to animate smoothly. And what should I use it? I use it for models, dropdowns, accordions, tooltips, and any UI element that needs to smoothly appear and disappear. And you already saw it in our starting style example. And in this case, you can see how it works with accordions and with the drop down. And example is pretty much the same as in the previous demo. So here we have transition and you can see display. We defined the transition time, we define ease, and then we use that allow discrete. That small trick can help you a lot with decreasing your bundle size by removing unnecessary JS libraries. And the last one, have you ever tried to animate a gradient? Here is the example. It does not animate, it just snaps. Because CSS doesn't know how to interpolate between two gradients. So developers reach for JavaScript. Animate with the request animation frame or JS library. Property fix this natively. Let me show you the examples first. You can see how gradient now animated here. It goes on the circle. It is rotating with gradient angle. And then let's go to glow effect. Once I hover, you can see how shadow changes. And also you can do progress animations. But let's focus now on the gradient one. It's the most interesting. Let's take a look at the CSS. So here we have defined property twice. So the first one is gradient angle and glow color. And we need to register that property with three things: syntax, initial value, and inherit. In gradient angle, here in the syntax we define angle. That means that this value contains a rotation value like degrees or radians. Then we set initial value to 0 degrees, and then we set here inherits false. That prevents children from inheriting this value automatically. And we use that gradient angle here, and we rotate that gradient angle to 360 degrees. That's how it is defined here. So we have background, linear gradient. Here we pass variable gradient angle, and then we have that animation, rotate for seconds, linear, infinite. And for the glowing button, we just changed that glowing box shadow. So here you can see we pass that glow color variable. Then we have transition for that. And here on hover, we set a new color. That's it. Okay, this section is for everyone using AI to write code. If you ask AI to add animations into your app, it usually defaults and uses libraries for that. Usually it doesn't prioritize these CSS features. So you need to explicitly instruct to your AI agent to use CSS native features. If you use Cursor, you can edit that to your project rules. If you use Claude, you can add it to your custom instructions. So AI will prioritize native CSS and your app will become much faster. And believe me, your users will be very happy about that. And also very important thing, once you use some of native CSS features, you have to check whether all browsers support them. There are some features that still rolling out, and usually they support it in most of the browsers, but still it can lack support for some specific browsers. But you can also cover that with the fallbacks. And the fallback is simple. The animation just doesn't play if it is not supported. No broken functionality, progressive enhancement. That's it for today. If this video was helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel to not miss next dev insights, and I will see you in the next one.